Welcome back to Let's Not Sugarcoat It. Season 3 is here and we're excited to dive into the core of communication, relationships, and leadership.
We're your hosts, Bella and Lee, a husband and wife duo with a successful business helping couples and organizations get it together to play a bigger game and elevate their relationships and performance.
We believe in keeping it real, so each week we'll bring you incredible guests, entrepreneurs sharing their authentic experiences, along with episodes featuring just the two of us tackling the tough topics.
So, if you're ready to enhance your connections and sharpen your leadership skills, you're in the right place. Let's get started.
Welcome back to another episode of Let's Not Sugarcoat It. Today we have Lynette Astaire in the house. She is a Los Angeles-based longevity expert, chef, and intuitive guide known for helping high-performing women and leaders age in reverse while sustaining their brilliance. With nearly 2 decades of expertise in fasting, functional wellness, and energy optimization, she blends science-backed protocols with a rare intuitive edge. Lynette has worked with Grammy-winning artists, CEOs, and creators around the world, helping them ground their energy, protect their vitality, and build rituals that support their mission, not drain it. Welcome to the show.
Oh my gosh, thank you all so much for having me. I'm really excited about this.
Totally so excited to have you on and talk about trends and biohacking and what's longevity, what you have to do, all the protocols. And it gets so confusing, especially for women in their 40s, mid-30s, struggling with perimenopause, coming into menopause. So tell us a little bit more about your journey, and then we'll get into what exactly it is that you do, because it's so fascinating.
Yes. So like most people and like most humans, we are not a proactive species just by design. So we normally take a lot of health chances and choices as a reactive measure. And that is no different for me. So when I was in college, my mother got breast cancer for the second time. Couldn't come to my graduation. It was at Lincoln Center, which was amazing, and couldn't make it. And that's when I just had a bit of a wake-up call. And at the time, the BRCA gene wasn't a little bit more studied. So at that time, we didn't know whether or not that would apply to me. Now we understand that it doesn't. So I said, all right, I want to just take my health into my own hands and do a little bit of a preventive measure. And I started building on really what I was already doing when I was younger. I started my first food business when I was 11. And one of the first things I bought was rice milk and like a pair of like shoes. So I'm kind of still doing the same thing. Really healthy food and really nice shoes. But that curiosity kind of led me into easily leaning into creating this preventative measure. And my partner at the time, his mom was kind of hippy dippy. And he says, what about the master cleanse? How about we start fasting? I'm like, okay. So we leaned into that. And of course, I got kind of teased at 22, 23 in college, calling me nuts and berries, etc. And since then, I've had a very serious and consistent fasting practice, which has paid off absolutely. So that was really what started it. Yeah, my ex, and he still calls me sometimes to talk about how we've just evolved in our practice of fasting. So yeah.
So with fasting, because there's some contradictory information out there saying that for women, it's different for men fasting and different for women, right? So can you speak a little bit about your protocol and what fasting has done for you in terms of hormonal changes and different things that everybody goes through? Every body is different.
Okay. So I'll start with just a baseline. Men and women, we're different by design. The overarching themes of health and wellness, as far as eating healthy foods, fasting intentionally when it comes to intermittent fasting on a daily basis, drinking lots of water, all of that across the board works for all of us. But we have periods. And we do something completely different, and everybody knows it. And that is really the factor that people have to look into. So I know a lot of different coaches or different protocols, they'll kind of want to do a group effort with people. Okay, we're going to fast on the first. Okay, are you in your follicular phase? Late follicular phase? Otherwise, you're going to make it much harder for you. So that's really the big factor for women. So that's like 8 to 12, and that's the late follicular phase. You definitely don't want to do it right before your period because so many things are happening. Why would you add this stress onto you? Hangry plus PMS? Come on. Come on. Why are we doing this? Why are we doing this to ourselves? So that's the biggest factor. And then also really listening to your body and listening to your heart and your soul and where you're at mentally. Because again, adding any extra stress mentally, physically, it's not a good deal. And for everyone, the biggest thing that I learned, because I've never had like a weight issue, I've always been automatically attacked by skeptics. Oh, well, you don't have to lose any weight. We are so brainwashed into weight loss. And I completely understand it. I get it. But that's not what fasting is completely about. And I always bring it back to just really ancient times, regardless of what your religion is. Jesus, Buddha, Muhammad. Look, they all have fasting story. And it wasn't to lose the last 10 pounds, right? So there's a mental, physical, spiritual aspect to this that really needs to be taken into account and can really supercharge your fast. And then secondly, you want to look at the animals. A lot of people have pets, and I'll ask them like, hey, do you have a pet? What happens when your dog is not feeling well? What is that indicator to you? Stop eating. They understand instinctually, energetically, all hands on deck. So that's an ability for you to heal yourself and give yourself an opportunity to repair, renew, restore. So for me, it's never been about weight loss. If anything, it's been about weight maintenance and making sure that I'm clearing everything out to prevent this propensity for weight gain. But the biggest thing for me has always been autophagy, autophagy, autophagy. And that is essentially the cells eating themselves. It's the recycling. And that ideally happens and most effectively is going to happen when you're not eating anything else. Again, we get a food coma, quote unquote. In the hood, they call it the itis. And it's basically like it's so much energy that's happening to digest your food. And it can't do anything else at that time. It's all about that. And so with autophagy, that's when you're getting a lot of opportunities to obviously eat these dead, decaying, dying cells. That's obviously going to build upon a disease. So you head it off at the pass. This could also be helpful for parasites if you have that. It could also be helpful for longevity and just straight up the fountain of youth. Like I said, I started this when I was like 22, 23. I just turned 44. This is absolutely the fountain of youth. And so there's so many different factors to it. It's so much bigger than weight loss, no pun intended.
Yeah. So what are the benefits? Like, what is the benefits of fasting for those that don't understand fasting? Like, besides the weight loss, mentally, physically, like, what are some of the benefits that you see within yourself? And how long do people, because, there's 24-hour fast, there's 72-hour, and then there's like 7-day fasts, 30-day fasts. Like, at what point is it not safe?
People have gone 60 days. Now, those are generally assisted. So you have places like True North, and that's on the West Coast, that does fasting assisted for water fasting. And then you have Hippocrates Institute, and that's down in West Palm Beach, Florida, and they do assisted fasting. So you can go quite a while. It depends on the reason. If you have an acute issue, fasting is really going to help. For maintenance, I'll do a 24 to 72 hour fast once a month or once every few weeks, just to kind of give myself that maintenance phase. So it really depends on where you're at. But the biggest benefits for me has been I rarely get sick. I haven't had any issues. My blood work is always fantastic. My skin has always been on point. Again, there's nothing much in here to stick to. I never even got COVID. There's nothing to stick to. You need something to create disease and sickness. And so when you're constantly going through this process, it really lessens the likelihood of that happening to you. Energy. I had a friend always laugh because once I got really deep into it, I would call it God mode. You wouldn't need as much sleep because, again, you're not processing the food from the day before. And I sleep like a teenage boy, like 8 to 9 hours. I love it. But during fasting, once I've hit past that initial, like, oh my God, what's happening? Then I can do 4 or 5 hours. I get a lot of different ideas. I get a lot of clarity. And like I said, Jesus, Buddha, Muhammad, and a lot of religions across the board, fasting is a part of their spiritual protocol. And so you're going to get spiritual aspects of it if that's what you want. But at the end of the day, you're going to get some cellular regeneration. And I'm all about regenerating. I'm like a mutant X-Men. I just want all of this to just, yeah. I'm Mystique.
What about intermittent fasting? So it sounds like we're talking about fasting where you're going a period of time, like 24 or 48 hours or longer without any food, where intermittent fasting is more about like calorie control, where you're really looking at a certain time frame of the day where you're taking in your calories, but outside of that, you're not eating. So does intermittent fasting have the same effects as the type of fasting you're talking about?
Yes, very similar. Intermittent fasting is absolutely great for weight control. That's a big thing for that because obviously, it's not really sustainable to just constantly be fasting and not eating for 30, 60, however many days, of extremity that can really happen. So intermittent fasting is a great way to maintain your weight or to lose weight and really focus on portions. And one of the things that's really great about intermittent fasting is that we're designed to do it. We were never designed to go into this big box behind me and just get whatever, whenever. We weren't. We are not built to go to or have DoorDash sent to us 24/7. That's just not by design. So a lot of the degenerative diseases and issues that we have and this big weight crisis that we have is because we have access to it all the time. A millennia ago, it was farm to table by force. Okay, we're going to get these berries. All right, you go over here and kill this buffalo over here. We're going to have this for a couple of days. Then we're going to have some greens over here, some tubers over there. Okay, that's it. There's no place to store it. So that just eliminated so much. Now, obviously, back then there were other environmental issues that you had to deal with. But what we're dealing with now, this is because of convenience and our sedentary lifestyle, because we actually had to hunt and physically go after the food. And if you were foraging, we didn't need a gym to bend down. Those are squats. It's across the board. So with intermittent fasting, it really depends on what your goals are. So it could be a 12-hour window, 14, 16, 18. It really depends. My best suggestion, obviously, you have to really figure out your blood work. You have to figure out your scheduling. You have to figure out really what you feel like you're capable of doing. Because again, there's no one size fits all. Like with my clients, they're like, okay, just tell me what to do. We got to talk about it. We have to look at your blood work. We have to figure out exactly what your goals are, right? So obviously eliminating breakfast or reducing it or delaying it is your easiest way. Think about the word breakfast. You're breaking the fast. So once you extend that, there's your fasting window. We're so programmed. We're so programmed for just this 24-hour cycle of food because the businesses in the industry financially depend on it, right? So a quick thing on portion control that I love to tell my clients and groups, let's look at the standard American diet, all right? So we've got breakfast. Let's see, it's the Denny's Rudy Tooty Fresh and Fruity, whatever it is. It's got like 2 eggs, bacon, sausage, all the things. All right. Now, for lunch, maybe we want to be like semi-healthy. Let's do a chicken Caesar salad. Okay, fine. Then for dinner, maybe your company had a celebration. Now we've got surf and turf. Let's look at all of these things from just a supply chain perspective. The same chicken that you're breeding for the egg in the morning is not the same chicken that you breed for the chicken breast. All right. Anybody that does farming understands that. So that's 2 different things. And then at the end of the night, you've got this Omaha steak and then this Alaskan king crab. What? Where's all of this? Like, how is all of this happening? It's not supposed to happen. We have the luxury of this happening. And when I kind of put this in perspective to veganism, I've been vegan, raw vegan at different points in my life. Veganism is a luxury as well, because we get the luxury of choice and the luxury of selection. So that's a whole nother rabbit hole to go down. But overall, all diets in the first world specifically, second, it's an absolute luxury. And we look at the photo series, I think it was from Nat Geo, where it's like kitchens and food from around the world. And you can just see like, well, the third world is doing not that good. That's the blue zone. They're doing great with fresh foods and vegetable. We're the ones that are messed up with these ultra processed foods, So all of this is super helpful when it comes to fasting. Fasting is super helpful for that, to be able to just eliminate and close that window and give yourself an opportunity to allow your body to do this thing every day. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's fascinating because right now there's this trend of protein, because you're talking about fasting, intermittent fasting, right? So a smaller window. And then there's all these people online saying, no, women are not getting enough protein. You need to eat all these eggs and cottage cheese in the morning. And then lunch, you need extra chicken and more eggs. And then, so many different messaging. It's so confusing. And I do believe in the fasting, and I do believe in that piece that our bodies need to regenerate. And I did some research as well on how the body, when it's starved, it attacks those dying cells or those foreign cells. So when you have something within your body, like a sickness, it does start, you start healing because there's nothing to grab onto. Right. Yeah. So, like the protein, like what you're saying makes total sense, is having access to so much stuff is not natural for us. Right. No. So what are your opinions of the whole protein for women at 40?
Okay. So first of all, protein in general, it's a big push. It's a big, big, big push by the industry. It's a big campaign. And yes, we absolutely need protein. Women over 40 absolutely need more protein. We absolutely need it. However, the big push for it, it's like no one's out here building pyramids. We've got like this ultra sedentary lifestyle, unless you're really getting to it, and a lot of people aren't. And that's what kind of brainwashes people. I just posted something on LinkedIn the other day. An acquaintance posted an op-ed in the LA Times about how protein is being put in like coffee creamer. It's just completely out of control. Hey, we're gonna put protein in Starburst candy. What? What? It's no. You still need to get your protein from very clean sources, whether you're vegan or not. It's very important, obviously, but it's being blown out of proportion, and that should not be some sort of determining factor on whether or not you fast. That has nothing to do with it. Now, here's the big thing with fasting and protein, which is really important, is that specifically when you're going through water fasting, it's important to make sure your refeeding is really good protein. Really good protein. You really need to do that. There's a company, not affiliated with them, but they're called Perfect Amino. And that's a great way to get your protein when you're fasting, especially if you're going to work out in the morning and you really want that, without the calories. That's what's great about Perfect Amino. Because the thing is, it's like, it's not about protein, it's about the aminos. And what's interesting is that, like the vegan argument for protein, it's like, okay, the biggest animals in the animal kingdom just eat greens, right? And the cow eats greens. So you're getting this secondary source of protein, which is absolutely true. But it was interesting because I understood the concept at like a experiential level when I was living in Mexico. And I lived partly outside. So I would make these smoothies, and we had a neighbor that had a fresh spirulina pond. It was amazing. And so I get fresh spirulina, and I was like putting it all up, just going, when you get a lot of stuff, you just go crazy with it. Just ridiculous. And so making these fresh spirulina smoothies, and I left it on the counter outside. And as the day and the sun changed, it started to cook this smoothie. And so I walked past, and I'm like, God, what is that smell? It smells like rotting meat. I'm like, how is this happening? And I said, oh my gosh, it was literally the smoothie. The spirulina is so high protein. It was the aminos cooking. The same way rotting meat or meat that would sit out in the sun would do the same thing. And so if for whatever reason, I didn't believe that spirulina was a high source of protein, I believed it that day. I believed it that day. And I told my partner at the time, I'm like, okay, we need to get more spirulina. And he's like, absolutely. Yeah, he's absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. Question for you.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're doing the fasting, you're just doing water. You're not putting anything in there, right? It's just water, or are you putting electrolytes? Because if you're working out, right, and like you talked about protein, it's hard. Let's say you're doing a 72-hour fast. Are you recommending working out, or when you're fasting, do you not work out?
When I'm fasting, I generally don't work out. This is a time for rest, renewal, recovery. And because I have very low body fat, I really can't afford I don't have anything much to burn. From that weight loss perspective, if you don't have much to burn, you're going to be like water a plant, and it just kind of like, I'm like that. Like I Zoom camera off, just chilling, working from home, working from the couch, and water, electrolytes, definitely electrolytes. That's super important across the board, and minerals as well, especially if you're using reverse osmosis or bottled water. We're losing those minerals that we naturally got through spring water. So unless you are lucky to get spring water, well water, obviously natural water, you're going to need those trace minerals. And it doesn't seem like a big deal because they're micronutrients, but those things are in that amount, very, very, very important. So for me, I take it easy. And the thing with fasting, like I said, it's been an evolution for me for the past 20 years. I started off with the master cleanse because, that's what my ex kind of brought to the table, and we kind of understood that. And then there were times in Mexico where we would do coconut water. And then once I got a mentor, he's a former director for Hippocrates Institute, the place I mentioned earlier, I got into structured green juice fasting. And that's similar to the medical medium celery, but we're building on other things. We're building on sprouts, which is one of the most nutrient dense little protein powerhouse packs on the planet. It's particularly sunflower sprouts and pea sprouts. That's where you see a lot of pea protein out in the market. So it was a structured green fast. But then when I started running, I ran my first marathon at 40. Oh my God, I can't believe it. My dad was trying to get me to run ever since I was like younger. And I'm like, look, I'm not running for anything except like planes. And I don't even want to do that. Or something's chasing me.
In that aspect, unless something is chasing me, I ain't running.
Exactly. But I had a startup at the time and it was mentally taking me out. And so I needed to do something that was actually going to kind of give me an ability to have my own win before I opened up that laptop to some like shitty email. So look, I just ran 5, 10, 15 miles. I'm good. So I ran that. But what ended up happening is that I couldn't afford to do these structured green juice fasts for 7 days, 10 days, etc. So then that's when I switched to water, particularly because autophagy was always really the number one thing. It wasn't so much about the clarity, because with the structured green juice fast, so I have a program actually called Reset with Lynette that walks people through this program. And the structured green juice fast is great for weight loss, right? Because you're getting that time and it's great for energy and it's great for clarity. But now I just do the water fast between 24 and 72 hours. Wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. And then, I go through my refeeding period and then I'm back to running, training, or just living, But again, everyone has to figure out what works for them. And I understand people want a magic bullet or they just want to, oh my gosh, just tell me what to do. I mean, I do that with my like tax and accountant person. Oh, because I don't, but just figure it out for me, right? But it's going to evolve and change. It's interesting because I know that this is a, relationship based podcast a lot. And I think about all of the long-term partners I've had and how they've evolved their wellness along with me with fasting to this day. They'll call me or message me. Okay. One of my exes, he's like, I'm on day 20 of a water fast and I'm surfing and I play tennis. Why? His BMI is different. He can afford to do that. And also he lives in a place where it's like 85 degrees every day. So your propensity to drink is so much more. That's another thing you have to think about as well. Like if you're in New York right now, I just came from New York. Oh, I'm going to do a fast on the 1st. Oh my gosh. Okay. But again, you need to do your best to work in tandem with nature, because otherwise, like, you're doing yourself a disservice and you're just causing more stress. Like, it's 40 below. It's cold in LA today. So fake cold, right? So, yeah.
I was just going to say, I know you said we talk about relationship and communication, but I think the relationship you have with food, relationship you have with your body, and relationship and how you communicate to yourself, with yourself, and how your body communicates to yourself is we need to be listening. Right? It's all interchangeable. It doesn't have to come from, person to person. It's that relationship that we have with ourselves, with our food, and just what it is that we want out of life. And our body's always talking to us. It's always talking to us. If you're not feeling well, just tune in and say, okay, why am I not feeling well? And when you get curious, you will find out why. What habits have you not been doing? What have you been eating? What have you been drinking? All that kind of stuff. So I think it is important that we also recognize that we need to have a healthy relationship with ourselves and relationship with the food and how we communicate with our bodies and how we're listening to our bodies. And I think that's why when you say it's hard, people want that quick fix. Give me a pill, give me a protocol. Well, I'm not within your body. I'm within my body. I already know when you tune in, I know what I need if I'm willing to listen and how, And we're not taught that, right? We're not. We're just told, you need to eat more protein, you need to lose weight, you need to gain weight, you need to exercise, like all this stuff. But intuitively, we already know what our bodies need. We're just not taught how to listen to what it is that we need. So, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It's interesting because I tell people, so I'm a chef by trade, and then also I integrate my psychic abilities into the coaching. And I tell people all the time, everyone's a chef and everyone's a psychic to a certain degree. You're an intuitive. Like, we have these abilities. It's just whether or not, like, what spectrum you're tapped into it. It's called gut feelings. That's your second brain. So you want to make sure that gut is good so you can make better gut feelings. Absolutely, across the board. Everyone has to be a chef. It's survival. Unless you are just absolutely in a position where all the meals come to you. So, hey, for some it does. Just for some it does. But generally speaking, for you to even put something in the microwave, like, you're preparing food for yourself. And so the issue that a lot of people have is that they want to outsource their responsibility. I have pre-calls with my potential clients just to kind of see where their head is at, because I don't accept everybody. And I will also fire clients, because it's like, if you're uncoachable, I don't have time for this. I want numbers on the board just like you want your numbers to go down. So I want to win just like you do. And so if I feel like you're uncoachable, a lot of times it's because of the relationship with themselves, and they're not even in a place to be coachable, which can also indicate they need therapy. I got the therapy vibes, but I'm not a therapist, So sometimes it really literally comes down to that. Like, you need to get to that place to then create that foundation so that you're not creating this loop that's going over and over and over and over again. I had a client in a pre-call. He's like, I've tried all these things and they didn't work. It didn't work. Dude, you didn't work. You didn't work. It reminds me of, like, my dad, when me and my brother were younger and we'd break something. It broke. No, you broke it. Like, you can't outsource your responsibility. Like, this is on you, dude. And, like, I get it. Like, the world is so heavy and it's so much stuff going on. And so you wish that you could outsource things, but you cannot outsource your responsibility to yourself, point blank, period. And you have to put that oxygen mask, as they say, over your face before anyone else. And everyone's watching you, particularly your children and the people that get influence from you. I'm thankful for my parents because their gym game was amazing when I was a kid. And they would take us to the gym with them and say, hey, meet us in the sauna at 8 p.m. Don't break anything. Don't annoy any of the other members. It's like, wait, now I'm looking back, wait, hot cold therapy at age 11? Yes. Like, I thank them all the time. So for parents out there, they're watching you, everything. And as we know, we're just in a loop of parental or caretaker influence for the rest of our lives, for better or for worse. So please be careful with what you're highly influenced.
Mhm. Yeah. It's, I was having a conversation with a friend of mine not that long ago, because I just finished a 90-day challenge of no alcohol. And I did a contrast with him because he's thinking about doing the same. And I did the same thing in January, just did the dry January, where I did just no drinking for the month of January, but I didn't change anything else. It was just about not drinking alcohol. So all my habits were the same. When I went to bed, when I got up, still drink like non-alcoholic beverages, mocktails, things like that. And I just found that it wasn't that big of a deal by the time January ended. Like, I couldn't wait for it to be over. When I did this 90-day challenge, it wasn't just about not drinking. It was about a lifestyle change. It was about shifting clarity, It was about really taking responsibility for my longevity. So, in not drinking, it was also habit stacking a whole lot of different things. I shifted when I went to sleep, when I get up, what I do in the mornings, my exercise, journaling, all those things. And that was my communication to him was if it's just about not drinking, not saying you're gonna fail, but it's gonna be a lot harder. But if you focus on what you want to change for the long term and what are all those additional habits that you want to stack on top of that, and you're focused on what you're gaining, because if you're only focused on not drinking, you're constantly in a space of lack, of just like, oh, I'm missing out because we're at a social event or this. Where if you're focused on the clarity I'm going to get, the better sleep I'm going to get, the money I'm saving, all these other things, you're constantly living into the future of what you're getting. It's more abundance focused. And so that really worked for me. That was my advice to him. When we're talking about stuff like this, about intermittent fasting or fasting in general, the benefits with that, what other habits or rituals should people be thinking about stacking on that to increase their success of this winning for them and really becoming a part of their longevity journey?
Oh, that's such a good question. Oh, man. And when you said habit stacking, my brain was already like, habit stacking across the board is one of the best ways to get things done. And it makes you accountable. It creates this level of accountability. So, and specifically for fasting, one of the biggest things that you can do is journaling. We should be journaling anyway, and journaling by hand. There was just a study that came out in regards to the frontal lobe, like it's shrinking because we're not really doing anything with the hand-eye coordination. Everything is becoming so much more digital. So, writing your goals, writing your gratitude, pen to paper. And if you really want to get like fancy with it, if you can use your other hand to really, really activate your brain. So that's one thing. Another habit stack is meditation. That's a big thing because if you're really listening to yourself, you're really going to be able to listen to your body. And my flavor of meditation is Vipassana. If anyone's familiar with the 10-day meditation, silence, no books, no talismans, no crystals, no nothing, you just in the sphere of the autonomous mind. Absolutely amazing. Just sit, just sit with it. I know some people chant or there's other things that go along, but just really sitting in silence as a starting point, I think it's really great to do. Um, and then also, it's interesting for me when I'm fasting, I start to think about food, but not necessarily in the craving way, but in the way of how I can kind of shift or up level my diet. Because even for me, with all this experience, there's still things that are always needing to be refined, particularly for sugar. Me and sugar got a real, you want to talk about relationships? Oh man, it's abusive. I, I love, and if I can't get to that, then I get to like, cheap carbs, which is essentially sugar. Um, so for me, when I go on fast, it's always a sugar reset. It's always a sugar reset. And looking back, as you start with the refeeding process, I think that's really important for people that are really looking for portion control and weight control. Really journal, do a food journal as you're coming out of it. And you're kind of eating the things that you might have had before. It's going to taste different. It's going to feel different. So the object of the game is to see how you can either eliminate it, replace it. Replacing it is usually the best way when it comes to habits, because if you replace things with something better, then you're just crowding it out instead of putting yourself in this automatic position of denying yourself. For better, for worse, denying yourself, it's not a good feeling. So if you're able to just add healthier foods, healthier alternatives, that's one of the ways that's really important to be able to habit stack. So yeah, there's a lot of things. Also, if you're doing like morning stretching, stretching is really important. Stretching is so important, and we don't do enough of it. Even if you're not like working out heavy that day, just stretching is really, really important. And my favorite habit stack for stretching and red light therapy, if you got a panel, is listening to something, listening to sound meditation, Abraham Hicks, whatever it is that's motivational and high vibrational for you, even if it's 10 minutes, do that. So that's another habit stack. So the sound for the stretching, and then the writing just to get everything out. And the writing style that I use for that, and I've been doing, let's see, for maybe like 15 years now, the artist way. It's called the morning pages. And the morning pages is an exercise in the artist way. And it's 3 pages, pen to paper, completely just whatever comes out of your mind, just don't stop writing. And it's the first thing you do in the morning before you speak to anyone, before you look at your phone, anything like that. And when I tell you, I went back a few years ago to look at some stuff from like 2009, 2010. Literally, it's these little like breadcrumbs of intention that you leave. Maybe I should do such and such. And then you're doing it. And you don't even realize, because it wasn't really like a goal per se. It was just kind of like a throwaway kind of like thought, like, all right, well, maybe I would like to make like white candles with my own scent in it. Years later, and I look back, I'm like, dang, and even again, we're all psychics and intuitive to a level. And I was able to, I, I guess, dreamed or something of one of my relationships. I wrote it out, and I wrote in Spanish, and I didn't even know Spanish, and ended up living in Mexico with my partner. And it said, I love you, blah, blah, blah. 2 years later, I meet him. So again, you do this, that's part of it. But then the other part is going back and reading what you wrote. So even if you do 1 page, something, every day as much as possible. I'm 80-20 with stuff. So I would say 80% of the year I do it. But then when I'm traveling, it's hard for me to do. So again, you have to give yourself grace with everything. So that's why 80-20 is like a really big mantra for people, because we're not machines. And some days we can't. Some days we can. So you have to figure it out, but do something. Do something.
Yeah, we're pretty good at Lee's more of the journal. I'm on the meditation, and it does make a difference when you create that habit. And then, so once you do one habit, right? Like I did a 21 day meditation challenge that Joe Dispenza has on gratitude. I mean, I feel the difference. And now because I feel the difference, I want to continue, and I see the changes in my abundant mindset and how grateful I am for the things in my life that, we take for granted. So once you do one habit, you're like, wow, this works. So you're going to do it. And then you're like, oh, well, now I'm going to add this habit. And then you work on one. So now you have 2 habits that you stacked, and then you get results with the second habit. So now that you add, you're like, wow, I need to get to bed at 8 or 9. Okay, let's not 8, 9:30. Well, usually I'm out by 9:30 anyways. So for me, it's 9:30. And then so I have a better sleep. So yes, you're on weekends, sometimes it's harder because you have parties, you go out, but Monday to Friday, 9:30 is my bedtime. And then I notice the sleep. If I go to bed later, when I eat before bed, I don't have that sleep. So then you're like, okay, I'm going to do that habit. So now you have 3 habits that are stacked, right? And then you just build on. And before it becomes this fad or trend, it becomes your lifestyle, because literally when we talk about diets, a lot of people think the general consensus, a diet is like, okay, well, I'm going on a diet because I have to lose weight. So I'm going to go on this diet for 3 months, lose the weight, and then I'm going to go back to the way I was. But your diet is your diet for life, what you put in your body. So it has to be a lifestyle. It can't be just, oh, I'm going to do this healthy thing for X amount just to lose the weight. Because guess what? If that habit breaks, you're going to go back. And then maybe worse. A lot of people, when they do those types of things, they'll lose the weight and then they'll gain it back and then some. So it has to be, like you said before, has to fit you, your lifestyle. You have to listen to your body, what works, what doesn't. Look at your schedule. Write it out. This is what my week looks like. This is what my day looks like. Is this, can I go to the gym in the morning? Can I stretch in the morning, or do I have time in the evening? Do I have kids? Do they have sports? Not everybody, like past 4:30 for me is a no-go for the gym, especially in the wintertime, because it's so bloody dark. By 7 o'clock, I want to be in bed, right? So you have to also adjust during the seasons, during your cycle, because we are on a moon cycle. So we have monthly. Men are different. They're on a 24-hour cycle. They can go 24/7. But because we are built differently, we can't. So I can't do what he does. He gets up at 5 in the morning. I used to get up, but it wasn't working for me to go to the gym. It's too early. If I have a bad sleep, I'd rather sleep a little bit longer and then join him in the gym as he's finishing. And then also my workouts, he's working out hour 20. I'm not going to do that. It doesn't work for me. I love intense, like stacking the weights and cardio at once. So, my workouts are 30 minutes, 40 minutes, sometimes 15. Sometimes I just want to go in there and I'm just going to stretch my hips, right? But you have to listen to your body. And you have to listen to that intuition, because you are in control.
Absolutely.
You are in control of your life, your body, your diet, your health, and nobody else can do it for you. So you have to get serious about it. You can't just sit on the sidelines and go, oh, I wish. Wishing is, wishy-washy.
Yeah, wishing is tricky, and it's interesting because a lot of times we try to assign a change based on a future result. So, when I get this job, I'll do this. When I get this relationship, I'll do this. Like, work and relationships are the two biggest points of contention, inspiration for most humans. So, when I move to this city, I'll be a different person. Yeah, for like 90 days. And then like we are who we are. And so I think the biggest thing for people is not to think that when this one outside factor for them changes, that's going to change them. And that's one of the biggest things I learned moving out of the country and having to live in a place that English wasn't really spoken, and thinking, oh, wow, if I live near the beach every day, I'm going to do this. I'm going to swim every day. Sometimes it'd be like 10 days. I look outside. No, not really. You think, oh, if I go to New York, I'm going to do this for a while. And that's the same thing that happens in January when people make these big goals, which are great. But then by February, it's like fall off February because everyone has fallen off. So everyone needs to be more realistic with themselves. Like, keep it real and start small so that you don't tire yourself out with doing too much too soon. And you're able to integrate that actually into your life. That is the biggest thing. And it's interesting because in the same way when it comes to health and wellness for fast food and just the standard American diet, it kind of becomes the same thing for health and wellness, I've learned. Now we want to supersize our wellness. Oh, I need a smoothie with 20 different superfoods in it. No, you don't. oh my God, I need all these things. I need all this. I need all this. I need all that. It's the same thing if you're going to McDonald's to get like a number 10 super size. You don't. You don't. You don't. You need to really listen to yourself and look at your blood work, look at your habits, look at your mental state, look at your spiritual state, and then figure out incrementally what are the best ways to start to incorporate these things into your life. It's literally just like a marathon. Like I never understood the phrase, it's a marathon, not a sprint, until I had to train for one. I can't go out and run 15 miles off the bat. That's the same thing for anything in life. So when people think about it that way and give themselves grace, they'll be in a way better place.
Yeah. I love that. I love that you said the whole marathon thing, because a lot of people do think, I'll just go run a marathon. And then they get there and then 4 miles in, they're like, okay, well, I'm done. I'm walking the rest, right? So, or I'm just, what the heck was I thinking, right? It is. It is those small habits, little by little stacking them, that will make at the end the biggest impact.
And you look up and you're like, wow, this happened. I mean, and I think just my 20-year intentional wellness journey, it's like an investment. I didn't fast perfectly, religiously, systematically every time, but I invested every few months, every season, over and over and over and over and over again, to where I look up and I'm like, okay, I'm not a billionaire, but I'm a biological billionaire. I think it worked out. Health is wealth. Health is wealth. And for me, if I see a billionaire that's not, or any high net worth individual that's not in a good state of health, I'm side eyeing, because you've got everything at your disposal. What's going on? You're able to manipulate the markets or your business and get all that done. And you need to make sure that you're working on yourself. That's the biggest thing, because health is wealth. Health is wealth.
There's nothing else. It doesn't matter how much you have in your bank account.
No.
If you're on a hospital bed, unable to move, what is it good for, right? So it's the most important thing is to invest in your health.
Yes.
And really, like I said before, listening to your body, because you and your body know best what's good for you. And obviously, coaching helps, having people in your corners to hold you accountable for the first little bit, because we all need a little bit of a push sometimes. If we don't have someone to hold us to account, we can sometimes say it and then not do it, and nobody knows about it. So then there's no reason for you to, continue or feel bad, right? Like once you say it into the universe, once you declare something, it shall be, then the actions need to start, because just talking about it also doesn't work. So finding a person to work with that has the knowledge that you, like you said, you need to jive with, you need to connect with. So, okay, on that note, where can people find you?
People can find me at LynetteAstaire.com. And that is a hub for all of my offerings, for coaching, for Reset with Lynette, which is the program that can help you with fasting, and also for any speaking, podcast, engagement, things of that nature. And then you can also find me on LinkedIn, Lynette Astaire. I do a lot of wellness ranting on there in relation to making sure founders are feeling good. There's a lot of founders out there. Forbes under 30, looking over 40. Come on, let's get it together. And then if you just want like a random slice of life, I am on Instagram. That's the comedy channel. That's what keeps me young. Oh yeah. Just BS. Just really ridiculous. I'm like 44 going on 24 going on 14. That's what keep it together.
40, I'm 45 going on. I always say 35 because my 30s were the best years. And I'm slowly starting to get into my 40s with a little bit more, because it did kick my ass when I turned 40, the perimenopause, and hormonally things are changing, and you're like, what worked for me before is not working anymore. What is wrong with you, body? It's like, oh, I gotta slow down. I gotta tune in and figure out that we are changing, and our lifestyles and our habits need to also adjust as we step into different seasons of our life. So yeah, thank you so much for the
welcome.
conversation. Thank you for
Yeah.
coming on. Until next time.
Yes. Thank you, Bella. Thank you. Bye. Bye.
We hope you enjoyed today's episode and gained valuable insights to elevate your life and business.
If you found value in our conversation, spread the love. Share this episode with family and friends, and let's grow this supportive community together.
And don't forget to like and follow us so we can reach more amazing people just like you.
Until next time, remember, let's not sugarcoat it. Keep it real, raw, and unfiltered.